What would make a grandmother rise up against her own flesh and blood? What would drive a woman to commit an unspeakable crime, slaughtering her own grandchildren, one by one, to steal the throne and risk everything, even defying God himself? Was it greed, fear, or something even more sinister? This is the story of Athaliah, the only woman to ever sit on the throne of Judah, a queen whose lust for power led to bloodshed, but whose downfall was written by the very hand of God. But what she never expected was that God had hidden a secret in his temple, a secret that would bring her reign to an explosive end. Stay with me until the very end, because this story holds a powerful lesson for your life today. To truly understand Athaliah, we must go back to her roots. She was the daughter of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel, the most infamous rulers of Israel. Her mother, Jezebel, was not an Israelite, but a Phoenician princess from Sidon. She was raised as a worshipper of Baal and Asherah, gods of fertility and power. Jezebel's cruelty was legendary. She massacred God's prophets, built altars to Baal, and introduced ritual child sacrifices into Israel. Now imagine, Athaliah was raised in that household. She learned deception from her mother. She learned power hunger from her father. She learned ruthlessness from their reign. She wasn't just an ordinary princess. She was being trained for something far worse. For years, the kingdoms of Israel and Judah had been at odds. Judah, the kingdom of David, was supposed to be set apart, but King Jehoshaphat of Judah made a mistake that would change history. He made an alliance with Ahab. To seal this alliance, he gave his son Jehoram in marriage to Athaliah. This marriage was political, meant to create an alliance between Israel and Judah. But what it really did was bring corruption into the kingdom of Judah, introducing Baal worship to God's people. This was a spiritual disaster. Jehoram, who should have followed the ways of David, fell under Athaliah's influence. When Jehoshaphat died and Jehoram took the throne, Athaliah poisoned his mind with Baal worship. He abandoned God. He murdered his own brothers to secure the throne. He led Judah into idolatry, just like Israel. For 8 years he ruled in darkness, his heart corrupted by Athaliah's wicked teachings. But then judgment came. Jehoram died a painful death, a mysterious disease that made his intestines rot from the inside out. 2 Chronicles 21:18-19. Some say it was a punishment from God. With Jehoram dead, their son Ahaziah became king, but his reign lasted only 1 year. Why? Because God had appointed a man named Jehu to bring judgment upon Ahab's house, and in Jehu's violent purge, Ahaziah was caught and executed. Now, Athaliah was alone. Instead of mourning her son, she saw an opportunity for power. She was about to do something so evil, so unspeakable, that it would shake the entire nation. The throne of Judah was now vacant. Ordinarily, the next in line would be Ahaziah's sons, Athaliah's grandsons. But instead of ensuring their safety, she made a chilling decision. She ordered the massacre of all the royal heirs, her own grandsons, the children of Ahaziah. With no male heirs left, she declared herself queen and took control of Judah. Imagine the horror and betrayal, a grandmother slaughtering her own blood just to secure her power. Her reign was one of idolatry, oppression, and destruction. She filled Judah with altars of Baal, silenced the priests of God, and tried to wipe out the worship of Yahweh completely. But little did she know, her plan had failed. While the kingdom believed all the royal heirs were dead, one child had been saved. His name was Joash. In a daring and dangerous act, Jehosheba, Athaliah's own stepdaughter and the wife of the high priest Jehoiada, had rescued baby Joash from the slaughter. She hid him in the temple of the Lord, under the care of Jehoiada the priest. For 6 years, while Athaliah ruled in wickedness, God was raising up a king in secret. Can you imagine the tension? While Athaliah sat on the throne, declaring herself untouchable, a rightful heir was growing up in the very place she had abandoned, God's temple. And then, the seventh year came. It was time for a divine reversal. Jehoiada, the high priest, gathered his most trusted warriors, the captains, temple guards, and Levites. He revealed Joash, the true king, to them, and made a bold declaration. Behold, the son of David lives. It is time to restore the throne to God's chosen one. The people of Judah were stirred with excitement. A secret ceremony was arranged in the temple, where Joash was crowned and anointed as king. The trumpet sounded, and the people rejoiced as they crowned Joash and proclaimed him king in the temple. They cried, "Long live the king!" Athaliah heard the uproar from her palace. She rushed to the temple, and what she saw left her in shock. There stood Joash, the boy king, with the crown upon his head. She tore her royal robes and screamed, "Treason! Treason!" But it was too late. The guards, under Jehoiada's command, seized her and dragged her outside the temple gates. And there at the horse gate, the very woman who had murdered her own family was struck down. Her reign of terror ended in an instant. The restoration of Judah, with Athaliah gone, the people of Judah rejoiced. They tore down the temples of Baal, smashed the idols, and restored the worship of Yahweh. Joash, at only 7 years old, became the new king, guided by Jehoiada, the high priest. The nation that had once drowned in darkness was now reborn in righteousness. Faith lessons from Athaliah's story. No evil plan can stop God's purpose. Athaliah tried to wipe out the Davidic line, but she failed. Why? Because God had already promised David that his throne would endure forever. No matter how dark the situation seems, God's promises will always stand. Be careful who influences you. Athaliah was raised by Jezebel, a woman of evil influence. She followed her mother's footsteps and became just as wicked. The people we surround ourselves with shape our future. God always has a remnant. Even in the darkest times, God always preserves a faithful remnant. Joash was hidden in the temple, just as God always keeps his plans hidden until the appointed time. Power without God leads to destruction. Athaliah took power by force, but she lost it in disgrace. True leadership comes from God, not from ambition alone. Wickedness has consequences. Athaliah's hunger for power led to her destruction. Sin may prosper for a time, but judgment always comes. Athaliah's story is a warning against power-hungry ambition and idolatry. It also shows that no matter how dark things seem, God always preserves his plans and his people. Joash, the hidden prince, became a symbol of God's faithfulness and redemption. If you love this story and want to hear more powerful Bible stories, don't forget to like this video to support the channel, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Comment below. What lesson did you learn from Athaliah's story? Stay blessed, and remember, no matter what happens, God's plan always wins.